let's go through the managed project time assessment. Okay, so the first task that is there in the managed project time is just discussing about these three things, which is fairly simple. Um, Sorry, there's a little bit of background noise because the vacuum cleaner going on in TAFE campus. So yeah, bear with me a little
No
bit.
problems. No
Yeah,
problem.
so because it's after office time, so they're working, the cleaners. So the
Yeah, no
type of
worries.
project is quite simple. Like usually the type of project you can think of in two ways. One is the size of the project, right? And the other one is the complexity. So if the project size is big, for instance, $10 million project or $7 million project, obviously that's a big project. So it can be a big budget project, right? So which is a big project, and the complexity could be like if you have multiple vendors, uh, multiple solutions integrating together to provide the outcome or the deliverable. So then obviously the project is a little complex. However, if the project is pretty much simple, like if you're doing in-house, the number of the employees are actually working, you don't have probably outside resources to do anything. So then, or if it is just a functional project, for instance, marketing team is putting together a project which is from marketing department. So obviously that is a silo kind of a project. So not very complex, not requiring cross-functional resources. So the project can be, in that case, simple. So you can just mention these two things and that's good enough. It's a big project with high level of complexity, or you can say like it's a simple project with low level of complexity, or it's a medium sized project with some level of complexity, right? So that is something that you talked about, the type of the project. Goals and objectives are pretty clear, like it's pretty simple that you explain, right? What goals you're trying to achieve. Here, often there is a confusion that I see like students do. They talk about the goals and objectives of the organization. So, for instance, some organization is trying to become very competitive in the marketplace and provide, greater customer satisfaction or whatsoever, but or getting the, greater market share. So that is the goal of the organization, not the project. The project can be, for instance, they're implementing a new CRM system or a new ERP system that will enable people to be more productive. Okay, manage the efficiency or increase the productivity. The productivity is something that, if you see, it's not actually about cost. It's actually about the output. For instance, currently I can check 4 assessment in a given hour, meaning it takes me 15 minutes, right? So if my productivity has to go up, I need to deliver more. So if I, instead of 4 assessments, if I can check 5 assessment in 1 hour, right? Then my productivity has gone up by 20%, right? So that is productivity. Efficiency is at the cost side. We see like if we talk about efficiency, it means we are trying to reduce the cost. For instance, the IT cost for last year was uh, $10 million for TAFE, right? The developer, the cost of the employees, the cost of all subscription licensing. If that is the thing, then if we are trying to see where we can reduce the cost and reduce the cost, for instance, 10% or something, that will actually and still we are maintaining the same level of customer satisfaction, same level of output. So in that case, we have become more efficient. So often this thing really, um, I mean, these two distinctions are not very clear, and the students just write it based upon whatever they want or what they
Yeah.
understand or what they feel, which is pretty generic rather than more
Yeah.
specific, right?
So
So
make it
when
about
we,
the goals and
yeah,
objectives are more about should relate to the goals, sorry, to the project and not to the
not to the
organizational one.
organization.
Yeah.
Yes, that is something that you should be thinking of. Your role and who you will be working with is pretty much based upon the name the role of the people. For instance, the project manager, the project sponsor, the quality lead, the procurement lead, the marketing lead, sales lead, customer service lead. So they have stakes in different. They have interest in different components, and when you try to understand their requirements, what they want to achieve with this project, that will give you an idea and what they will be doing. For instance, often there is a product manager who is trying to outline what the features of the product will be. The customer service often will chip into it, providing their requirements in that particular product. Sales will talk about they need this sort of features which are in the markets, those sort of things. So there can be contributors, they can be validators of the requirements, they can be also part of the testing team. So here you just need to outline a couple of stakeholders for the project, whatever is the project that you're going to pick up, and just talk about just 1-2 line for each of the members, right? Who are actually actively participating in this project. So yeah. The next part is talking about the work breakdown or structure that you pretty much did in the earlier unit. You know how to do it, so not a big deal. So I would again request not to stay within this 3 task or subtask thing.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the 3 levels you're saying. You can just sort of
don't burden yourself with this restriction. Make sure that when you look into the project, you see it as a project entirety, right? All the tasks that need to be there. It doesn't matter whether it has to be 1 layer or 2 layer. It really does not matter, right? What matters is you can say like project initiation phase. Underneath, you can put a couple of tasks, project planning and completion, or planning phase, project execution, and then lastly, project closure. That's the idea of the different stages, and you can put things inside it, right? The task.
So you can actually simplify it. Like I think when I submitted the WBS in the first assignment, I had the 3 layers, but just to make things simpler, it's okay to sort of take a few steps, like make it just the two layers. Because the thing was, I noticed, not that it's a bad thing, but it just takes a little bit of time. But there's FF and SS, and it's just like I think it has to do with the dependencies. And it just takes a little while. So I was just like thinking, if I simplify it, then then maybe it just might not take as much time. Otherwise, it's all okay.
So if you see that the idea is, if you think about 2 tasks, for instance, this task and this task, right? You have to understand the relationship between these 2 tasks. This task has to finish in order to this task to commence. If that is the relationship, then meaning this task has to finish and then this task starts. So that's the relationship of FS, meaning finish to start. The relation between the predecessor and the successor is finish to start. However, if this is something like this, for instance, if this task does not depend on this one, right? You can see here predecessor and successor, right? So for instance, if this task, which is here, right? So this one is dependent on 8. If it is not dependent on 8, if it is dependent on 5, then these 2 tasks have the relationship where they can go in parallel, right? Yeah, so that's the idea. But
I guess, so don't spend too much time doing the FS and whatever. As long as you can sort of say, this is the previous relationship, this is the Project Libre should take over the rest of it to save time.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, so I think there is a relationship column as well. There's a header that you can add to understand how it works, like
I think I just saw one coming up.
Yeah.
It did look like it came up when you were going.
Yeah, but my understanding is, look, this usually in most of the project, most of the tasks are actually related by FS, finish to start. Okay, even if we want, for instance, these 2 tasks, for instance, this task and this task to be related in parallel manner, then what we do, rather than saying like start to start, we rather say like, okay, this task is dependent on this one, and this task is also dependent on this one. So we know that these 2 tasks in that case will start at the same point. So we don't really have to change the relationship. Rather, we make the parent of this task is this one, and parent of this task is this one. So in that case, you know that these two are actually working parallel. Make sense? No?
Yeah, yep. I'm trying to minimize how much I talk, so I turn my microphone off because I'm sure in case other people see this video, I'm trying to shut up a little bit more, but I am definitely.
No, but it always gets more interactive when someone is there, to be very honest. That's my understanding. So it's better that we both of us talk, not a problem. Okay. So now going there, so milestone. So when you set a milestone, how you can, if you do you see any milestone in this Gantt chart on WBS?
In the WBS, well, I mean, you technically have the pre-project preparation, then you've got the implementation, and then you've got the closure. I mean, they're somewhat milestones, but I mean, I guess technically, I mean, each of them can be. I mean, once you replace the stormwater, I mean, the end of that is the end of a milestone as well. Is that correct?
What we do usually, because milestone is not a task, what we do in order to create a milestone in a Project Libre or any software is that we insert one item. For instance, the item name is all installation completed, right? Just completed. So this is something. Here you can see the number of days being allocated. If you want to make it a milestone, what you do, you double click on this item, right? You go to general, right? And then use, instead of 1 day, you make it 0 day. Okay. And then close
is that how you do it? Okay.
Yeah, and then close it, right? And then this one, I have to relate it. It has to be after this one is done, right? So if this one is to be done, so I have to provide the predecessor. So this one is number 15. I'll put number 15 there. And you will see that this thing, because of this one, sorry, number 15, right? This one, right? So this one also have some successor. Like after the milestone, obviously you're going to proceed with everything else. So this one also should have a successor, meaning it has to have a child. So we will put probably number 17 is the child after this, meaning then it will follow from there. So this diamond shaped thing is always a milestone, and the milestone should have always a 0 day, because meaning it should not be a task, meaning no one has to work on it.
What's the point of a milestone? Then what's the point of a milestone then? Because I thought like milestones was like, okay, we're in the once
Usually,
we finish say for example the implementation stage, or once we finish the pre-planning stage. I thought that was like a milestone. So what makes a milestone and what's its purpose?
Yeah, I'm not actually defining milestone here. Obviously, what you said is right. Milestone is something, a progress of a significant progress that has been achieved. After that, we say it's a milestone. For instance, as you said, after all the testing is completed, probably now that the testing phase is completed, you feel like that's a milestone that you have achieved. Yes, but there is no particular definition how you set up a milestone. In many projects, different people define milestone in different way, meaning like not necessarily the thing that you think like this is not that significant, they might think it's significant.
Okay. But can you also, milestones aren't necessarily something to say, okay, we've hit this particular point, let's like use our project management metrics to see how we're tracking, to see just make sure that everything's on track, checking the quality, the time, the money. It's not like you just go, okay, at this point we run measurements on our metrics.
Usually the reason that we put any milestone is just to know how far we have progressed in the project. Like probably you can think from project timeline basis, you can think of a significant work basis. There is no exact definition how the milestone should be set. Usually the project manager is free to choose how they set the milestone based upon the context of the project. So obviously something significant, what is probably significant to you is not significant to someone else. So it depends on the project manager's perspective. So that's why the project manager freely chooses where they think the milestone should be. So for instance, having to select a vendor, right, which who is going to deliver the project can be a milestone, because you have worked so much. You try to go to the market, get a couple of vendors with their proposals, evaluate them, not just you yourself, but the procurement team with the IT, with the product team, with the marketing, sales, customer service, all of them you evaluate and figure out whether they meet all the requirements, and then probably you select the vendor. That's a big thing. Get the contract signed and everything. So that's probably a big thing from the project manager's point of view, but may not be a significant thing from a technical person's point of view or marketing's point of view. So milestone is something that usually a project manager defines by consulting to the project team. However, there is no specific guideline in anywhere like how the project manager should define a milestone. Make sense?
Yep,
Okay.
I see.
Yeah. So now let me go back to here. So they asked you to create at least 2 project milestones, and that's why you are free to do. Like if you think like after all the testing can be 1 milestone, or after all the planning there is another milestone, you can do it. It's up to you. But the assessment tells you to at least put 2 milestones in your project. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
Next part is talking about project schedule, which is obviously this Gantt chart. So the idea is whenever you are going to create the Gantt chart, it's pretty simple. Like you're going to put the task and see the relationship, and based upon that, you will define which task will follow which one. And then your Gantt chart will be created something like this, right? Once you do it, so this is your plan. This is your initial plan that you have come up with. So this is your plan for the entire project, how it will go, right? So once you have done it, then the thing that you should be doing is, first of all, because we asked you for a number of times to showcase us the project Gantt chart in this assessment. So you should be saving it as versions. So if you save it as like ABCD, right? This is the project, then underscore V1, save it, right? And at the same time, you create, sorry, I missed one step. You should create a baseline. So save this baseline, right? So entire project, save this baseline. That's what you do. Okay, so let me go through this one. Use an appropriate project management method or technique to create the Gantt chart. List all the required tasks. So we have already done it here, right? Assign resources to each task. So if you have to assign resources, let me take off the baseline, because we should not create the baseline before we assign the resources. Let me clear it out. Okay, let's go to the resource table. So
did I hear you saying in a previous meeting that you said you should have your resources defined earlier?
First,
or doesn't really matter. But why is that? What's, just so I understand the context, like why is it important you do that before
because
doing the rest of the WS?
Project Libre has a limitation. It's the limitation is when you actually allocate more resources, for instance, 2-3 people, right? For instance, if I define this task like 3 days or 2 days, right? And if I have just 1 person, it will still show 2 days. If I put 2-3 person, it will automatically reduce the time frame from 2 days to 1 day. You get my point? Because they are calculating it based upon that. That's the problem. So what we usually...
Are you talking about... Sorry, explain that again. I'm not sure quite understand that. So
yeah. So for instance, this task is 4 days, right? How many resources have been allocated? None as of now. If I allocate a resource, for instance, if I allocate a resource from the resource table, right? So if I just go here, go to task, assign resources. If I put Bruce and Roberto and I assign them, you're gonna see, and if I press enter, right? Just a second, not there. Bruce and Roberto and assign, and that's it, right? So you're gonna see like often what it does, like it just reduces to 2 days. It's good that it did not do it here, but often that's the case. The task gets reduced. That's the problem. Okay, let me go to the resource table. Let me take a look.
It affects the days if you have multiple resources.
Yeah, so that should not be happening. That doesn't happen in project,
Microsoft
Microsoft project, but here that was a problem. I don't know whether they have fixed it. I reported that they have this bug, so I don't know. This is the latest version. Probably it does not change anything. That's good if that happens. And here you should put the rates and stuff like that, right? Who you paying what? If there are some particular task that you have outsourced, for instance, configuration task. If you have outsourced it, you can put put it like a material, because you have multiple things here. The cost heading can be multiple things, for instance, work or materials. Here is limited to these two types. In Microsoft Project, there are more types that you can put. Okay, so the idea is when you do that, and when you go back to your Gantt view, you should be able to, allocate resources. Once you allocate resources for everything, you should get the cost column automatically coming up. If you have already, created the rates for the people. So now let's go to these tasks. My suggestion is let's go to the Gantt chart, Gantt view, and let's allocate a couple of resources here and there, right? I'm just making it for the sake of, so yeah. So I'll put other resources here. Some resources probably Roberto, and this one is done. This one is probably I will put another resource, probably Stephanie. Assign. That's it. So if you put someone here, probably I'll put again Stephanie. Sorry, my bad. Task. Assign resources. Stephanie. Assign. Got it. So this one. So in that way, if you keep on doing it, and if you put this cost column, right, it will automatically tell you what is the total cost. I mean, for the project. As of now, 19,200. If I just keep on adding up, it will keep on adding. So that is the idea here when we are talking about assign resources to each task. That's what you do. Ensure each task has a start and date and duration. So this is already there. So you can see the start date and finish date, and this is the duration, right? What else? Identify any cost and risk associated. This is the reason that we are doing it. So we are actually putting resources to identify the cost. And risk associated risk, we usually don't do the risk in a Gantt chart. So that's why this is a thing that should not come here. So, but we actually renamed it. Yeah, if you insert.
If you left it out, would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem is I saw like the other markers want to get the risks. So some of the students, what they do, like they do not put the risk here. They talk about the risk about some of the task after, I mean, in the description, in the project documents, the Word document, they just put like 2 or 3 risks about 2 or 3 tasks. That's all, or the project as a whole, right? But you can do that, absolutely. But you can do the other way around. Instead of like going through all of the tasks, right? What you can do, like you can put a couple of risks in a couple of places. For instance, here it's a building and construction project. So replace stormwater or whatsoever. So here, probably this one has a risk of WHS. I'm just saying, right? For instance, because it's at rooftop, it will have some risk of those who are working if they don't have proper gear. So risk of accident and compliance of WHS. Okay. For instance,
so as long as you put a couple in there, it should suffice.
Yeah. So yeah, just sorry, notes here. So you can put it like a note, or you can just come here and just put it like this, right? Okay. So that's it. Probably in that manner, you can just write 2 or 3 risk, and that's it. That's satisfy this requirement in this assessment, like put some risk and stuff like that, right? So then the next part is they're asking you resources. You may be so okay, bar chart, Gantt chart, or network diagram. So resources, okay, you can use this, but this is the task. So here, from here, you can actually take some screenshots if you want. For instance, what people often do, like they go to the WBS view, right? So this is the WBS. If you look into it, like in a hierarchical structure, right, or flowchart structure, what you say, many know it as a flowchart. I mean, many refer it as a flowchart, though it's not a flowchart, right? It's just a hierarchical structure of tasks. So this is the Gantt view. You can also see the network diagram view. So this is the view where all the tasks are aligned, and this is the the diamond shape is always telling you this is not a task, this is a milestone, and you can see the red cells that are there are part of the critical path. The blue cells are not part of the critical path. Okay, understood? So this is the network diagram again.
Yeah.
So
and you can submit
automatically
this file.
calculates.
You can submit this file. I mean, you don't have to take screenshots. You can submit this file.
Yeah, you can print it,
so that way
obviously.
they can.
But the print, yeah, you can print it. So, but the problem is, if you print it, it really does not come in one page. It just breaks into multiple pages. So often the students, what they do, like, yeah, they just take screenshots and then combine it and make it a large file. So
What do you
yeah.
mean they print it? You mean like screenshots and then they put it into a Word? Like you can't just say here's.
No, if you go here,
here's the file. Because obviously, if you open it in Project Libre, like you can see the network diagram, you can see WS. So you have to still take screenshots, or
no, you don't have to take the screenshots. But many students feel like in particular area, if that is what they're asking for, instead of creating the WBS, or saying like, please go and check this WBS in the POD file or Project Libre file, they actually take some of them actually take the screenshots and put it in the Word document. That's what I'm saying. But you can obviously refer that, go to the Project Libre file and find the WBS, and that's fine. That's pretty understandable.
perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next part, which is here, right? So you can actually get all of these things from these files. So network diagram is here, which is this one. WBS is here. Gantt chart is here. So pretty much like all the views that they want is already there in the project file. So yeah. Let's come to the question, task number 4. Now they are asking you to create a project schedule baseline. So now that you have, I mean, if you have completed all resource allocation and stuff like that, and so now that what you have is this one, right? So this is the Gantt chart. Now they're asking you to create a baseline. So you can save the baseline for the entire project. If you do that, there will be a shadow showing these things. So this is the version 1 that we are talking about. So we will save it as version, like we'll just save it as version 1. This file is already version 1. So if I just go next, right here, now they have asked you to do couple of things. One is to communicate the project schedule baseline, request the input from the baseline for the approval. So there is a communication, like email correspondence, that you have to do probably for this part, right? Explain the mechanism that will be used to measure, record, and report any progress of activities, which is pretty much like how you progress on week to week. You will be monitoring, you will be reporting the earned value management, those sort of things. Yep, that's pretty much it. So yeah,
but communicate this just a PS baseline.
Because
what would you sort of say? Would you sort of say, look, start and end it here, or what? Like for the point 1, for example, how would you communicate that in an email? I mean, how do you communicate the baseline? Because obviously there's a lot of information.
Yeah, so what we do usually, we don't actually talk that much in the, we don't go for every single task for task. What we do, we actually collapse it and see the entire thing. So we say like the project initiation phase will start from 20th of October and will finish by 3rd of November. And these are the dates. We can put that like a table in the email, and then you say like we have, so let me go back here. So when we talk about the project baseline, that's what we talk about. When the different phases are starting and finishing, that's the most important part, just mentioning that's our baseline. And you're saying like, we have already attached the file here, or we have this project file in some location. If you have any input, you can inform us over the email, and after you take a look and have your own opinion, you can get back to us if you want to make any changes down there. That's something that you say. And then the next part is actually talking about the explanation, right? The mechanism that will be used to record, monitor, or report any progress. So that part is not part of the baseline. It's just now you're saying like how you will be managing the project schedule, how you will report someone will report the progress, any task being completed, those sort of things. You can say like we will be having weekly meetings or monthly reviews to see how the project is progressing. We will be measuring the earned values to understand what is the variance in terms of time, in terms of cost. Those will be recorded and updated to the management in every uh, uh, um, month in the status update meeting with the management. However, for the team who are working in the project, we will be updating these figures and reviewing the project in every week or every fortnight. That's up to you. You get my point? So that's the idea. List the dates of the project regular meetings. So here you can say like we will have the initial meeting after the kickoff, which we already had. Now we will have the next meeting end of next month, for instance, 30th of June. The next one is, I mean, you're just communicating the dates, right? So, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the email. The email is just to communicate that you have a project baseline, you have these dates, these are the ways that you'll be monitoring the progress of the project and asking them to chip in if they have any suggestion or if they have any comments or feedback. That's it. Okay,
cool.
That's the task number 4. Yeah. Did you want to say anything?
No. Sorry, I just cut the mic in and out. So I was just saying, yep, cool. Understood. Yep, thank you.
Yep. Next part is project report, and now they're saying, like now you have started your project, and you have gone around 50% of your project. So again, if we just look into the EVM curve, I don't know whether we can get, yeah. So this one, right? So again, if you think about that you are somewhere in the middle of the project, let me take a look if we can make it bigger, or if there's a picture down there. This picture is so bad. Yeah, this one is better. So let me make it bigger. Yep. So they're telling you like if this is a timeline of the project, right? So you are somewhere in the middle of the project. So think about this as a timeline that you have to achieve the project within 24 weeks or whatsoever. And this is the dollar figure of the project, which is $75,000, for instance, right? Or at the same time, you can think of two things in this axis. One is part of completion. This point, if you reach up to this much, is 100% of project deliverables being completed. Anything less is probably, this one is probably 80%. This one is probably, I don't know, like 50% whatsoever. I'm just saying, right? Just to contextualize what we are talking about. So they're saying that you are here, okay? And usually what happens, people as project managers, you really lag behind the things that you're supposed to do. So it's very rare. Most of the times, 80 to 90% of the times, you lag behind the project completion, and you are a little bit over budget. So that's what happens all the time, most of the time, right? So they're telling you this, like now that you are here, something has gone wrong. So let's see what they're referring to. So they're telling you that one of the activities has not been completed on deadline, for which you are probably a little behind, right? One of the activity has some cost implication where 25%, I mean, more cost will be needed, something like that. One of activity has been canceled, but you already incurred the cost, blah, 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 right? So the idea is whatever is written, they're just trying to give you a context to work on, okay? the idea is they're asking you these things, like what is the status currently. So if we go back here, right, you created already the initial baseline, which is this shadow. You see like this ash colored shadow here. So that's the baseline.
Yep.
Yeah. So the idea is some of the things have actually changed. So in this one, probably from here, that really came to this much. Like probably you are a little late. You get my point? So this shadow that you see is the baseline, and it's showing how you have been deviated for the entire project. So now instead of finishing by, I don't know, 1st of Jan 2023, it shows like probably you're gonna finish it by 10th of Jan. Probably there are some other things also happen. For instance, this task also been a little delayed. This one is a little delayed, something like that. Couple of things happen for which your project is showing probably you are almost a month behind. So now probably you have completed some of the tasks, like this task, like these 3 4, probably some other tasks have been completed, right? So um, if that is the case, sorry, I just went too far.
So by doing that, you just if you all you did was you dragged on one of those components and you just dragged it along, or you pulled it along.
Yeah, I just drag them. That's all. So here you can do it like this. You can just put the actual start, actual finish date as well, but you can just simply drag them a little, and that will do the trick.
Okay.
So now that we have this, right? This is the scenario. What the question is? The question is talk about these things. So talk about these things and provide this version that you have made it. So what I'll do, I'll save it in a different version. Save as, instead of version 1, I'll save it as version 2. Okay, understood, right?
Yep.
And
But how come we save? I notice you're saving. You have your initial one. You save that as version 1, and then you make some changes. You make that version 2, but then you also do a save to. You also made a change. We did baseline 1. Why do you have a file for 1 and file for 2? But then you also have like a baseline save as well. Why do you do that?
Okay, the baseline thing is a little different. Let me tell you what happens. For instance, now you are at this point, whatever damage was supposed to be done is already done, right? So you are already late, already these things, and you have communicated to the project sponsors and everyone else, because there was nothing like these were acts of gods, because the shipment delay is something that's beyond your capacity to control, because there's a lot of supply chain issues going on around the world for which the shipment was delayed and you can't really help it, right? So this part is not even being covered as part of the vendor who was supposed to deliver the hardwares or whatsoever. Okay, that is not part of the agreement either. So if that is the case, right, so you have to accept it, and from there you have to define the second baseline. So the idea is, now that you have this baseline and the project has shifted a little and probably they're happy, the project sponsor understands and said like, okay, from this point, I don't want any delay. You make this case current situation as the baseline. Tell me like this is the baseline and you are not going any far behind than 8th of January, right? Something like that. Or he wants you to do some revisions to try to accommodate the entire thing, probably a little bit earlier, not probably as per the initial deadline, but at least 2 days, 3 days you can save. That will help. I'm just giving you an example, right? So if that is the case, often what they do, like you go here, right? And everyone understands, so this is the current plan. We will stay like this, and we probably will create another baseline, and this is the starting point from now on. This is the second baseline, right? So in the middle of the project. So then you again save a baseline. You can just save it as baseline 1. Earlier one was just baseline. If you see, this is baseline 0 or whatever you say, initial baseline. This one is baseline 1. So if I just say baseline 1 and save it, so now you will see another shadow coming up. The earlier one was ash colored, and this one is pink, right? So
Hold on, I think is the other lady still here? I thought I saw her put her hand up. It's just you and me, isn't it?
No,
yes, sorry,
she's
sorry. I
there.
just
Yeah,
don't want to interrupt. I was going to do my assignment, and I couldn't find the planner template there. Tawfiq, I sent you a message on chat.
yeah.
I think it's not delivered to you. So, is there any way we can find it? It's just asking me to log into TAFE account, which I couldn't. I put my
Uh,
password.
you need. Let me take a look. So you need the planner template, G
Yeah,
task planner.
yeah.
Okay, so the idea is like whenever you have to go there, just you
Mhm.
can use here, come here, and let me go to the Jealous website Pro. So this is the website.
Mm.
So
Or
if you
is
need
it
a planner,
important, or is it mandatory that we have to use this template, or we can do by our own? Like,
scope management plan template.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
not important. You can just create your own, or you can
Okay.
use the one which
Mhm.
is there. I mean, there is a template here as well, just to show
Mhm.
you.
Yes, please, if you could please send me. I can't access that URL. I don't know why.
Okay, so let me take a look. It should actually go. Just give me a
Mhm.
second. If you go to Galos, if I go to internet and you need the templates, and the template is task planner, right? I'm not sure whether it's here, the task planner template, right?
Plan template, I think.
Uh, as far my memory goes,
Mhm.
we don't use that template, to be very honest, in order to write this project plan, right?
Mhm.
We use usually report template, this one,
Okay.
and I can send you the link. Should be
Yes, please.
working, and save a link, not save it. Sorry, just a second. Copy the link address. Samana. Take a look
Mhm.
if you can fetch this one,
Yeah, let's
the link I
quickly
provided.
see. Uh,
It will
open.
ask you to provide your username and password, which is your email address and your student portal password to log in to
Oh,
this link.
okay. I think it's not working. No, it's
It's
not the
not?
same thing. No,
Okay.
it's not
So
even asking me the password and link.
yeah, so what I can do, just hold on. I'll send
Mhm.
you it over the email.
Mhm.
So yeah, I got your email address. Allow me 1 second. So
Sorry to interrupt.
no, that's fine. It's all good. So here's the download. Sorry, download report template, and where is this? Okay, yeah, all good. So this is the template that you can use.
Okay.
And your email address. Yep. I'm not going to write anything else. I'm going to just
Yeah, that's
send it to
fine.
you.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
good? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No issues.
You still there? Yeah. Speak. I think you're on. I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. So
That's
can
all
you hear
good.
me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. So we were probably discussing about the project report, right? Task
Yes, we were
number
talking about
5,
the. Yeah, we were talking about. I think you had added a second
second
baseline. So there was a
baseline.
grey. There was
Yep.
a grey shadow, and then there was the pink shadow to
Pink
sort of
shadow.
say that's the new
Yeah.
baseline.
For instance, yeah, bro, that is probably the idea. But we usually don't do it like this. We also, whenever there's a, if there is a time crunch, and we really need to get it done faster, we will see like where we can actually make some changes. For instance, the closure phase. Do we really need to close it right after everything is done, or can we start these some of these things a little bit prior? For instance, defect rectification, right? Probably we can just do it after the uh, after the inspection or something like that. If that is the case, we can do that, right? So one other thing is this one. You will often see like some of the items are actually having some different signs. So if you go here, um, you can see that that we can put some dependencies. Like for instance, we can say some of the things like this one. If I go here, if I go to general, then you see that start date and finish date, and this is pretty much automatic based upon the earlier task. But we can actually do other things. For instance, we can say this start date is going to be fixed. Okay, we can fix some of the tasks, like it cannot start before or after, it's going to start a certain day. That we can also do. But however, that's not required at this point. I just wanted to mention about that feature. Nonetheless, let's come here. So they're saying like these are the things that have happened, and now what is the status of your project schedule? So based upon that, you have to think like some of the tasks have got delayed as I dragged this one, and some other task I just dragged it further, this one and this one. You're gonna say like these 3 tasks have been delayed because of these reasons, where you could not control a couple of those things, act of God or whatsoever, or the suppliers did not could not manage to do it within the given time frame or whatsoever. So you're going to provide those things, and that's why you will have some variance in the schedule, right? So the variance is the number of days. You usually we calculate variance, all the variance, cost variance, time variance, in a dollar figure. Okay, but for the sake of simplicity, many of the times the students just say that it was supposed to be started, for instance, 16th or 11th, right? Sorry, it was supposed to be finished by 11th, but this one has been actually finished much later, right? For instance, 15th of November. So you are just updating where those things have happened, how that changed your milestones dates, if any, right? And yeah, and you can say that the variance in terms of project schedule is this many number of days, or you can say this many dollar figure. Okay, and how you can actually a summary of any changes required in the project schedule that will really not going to make it worse, rather a little better. So probably you can say like, yes, now that we understand that our project is getting late, so probably a defect rectification and de-established compound, these 2 things, we will try to, instead of doing one thing after the another, we will do it sequentially, which is fast tracking. So we will try to reduce it. So in that ways, what will happen?
Parallel, right?
Yeah, parallel, to do it parallelly. So in that case, what I have to do, like instead of this one being dependent on the this task dependent on the earlier task, which is number 21, right? We will make it dependent on number 20. I'm just saying, right? You see?
Yep.
So now we're gonna make this change to make sure, right, that we can reduce some time from here. Okay, so probably that's not going to reduce significantly, but at least probably 4 or 5 days. So that's how you are trying to do things a little parallelly and helping yourself to, reduce the time variance by probably 4 or 5 days. What will happen in that case? Probably you had this tolerance. For instance, your project was supposed to be finished by this time, and now you are either finishing earlier, right? This is the baseline, first baseline, the ash color thing. So now actually doing this parallelly, you can actually finish it even before the first initial baseline. That's what I'm saying. Make sense? So that is probably one of the take that how you're trying to fix it. Okay, so the proposed response change, what are the changes that you're proposing and how that's going to help the project, right? So these are just the header, and you're going to write what you are trying to do. So now revise the project schedule. So update the project schedule, and then so the version 2, as we have already saved, and then review the project performance, and now talk about these things like conducting a meeting. You will have a role play where you can say like what happened, why things have got deviated, what are the tasks that got deviated, and how you try to manage it. So what are the things that you've learned from this project? Like in terms of time management, you're going to say like, we understood that sometimes things may not go right, but we have to look into a couple of tasks. For instance, in these cases, we checked how these two tasks are dependent. We felt that these tasks are not, do not have very hard logic to go sequentially. There is rather, we can probably, there are some soft logics that this task should happen after that, but uh, there is it's not very necessary that they have to go sequentially. We can do them parallelly. So that's why we have decided to go in parallel, and that's how we have managed the project to complete within the time frame. Make sense?
So in this case, step 7 is the lessons learned. Whereas in last assignment, I think it was, this was the last one, but the video meeting was like step 2 or 3. So in this case, it's step 7 with the lessons learned like in the same part.
Yeah. So here in the assessment, right, they're asking you to provide those things, right? So you are discussing those things, revision, and then conducting the meeting. So and updating the lessons learned. So your meeting is actually talking about those lessons learned, whereas you will have to probably at the very end document or update the lessons learned log. That's it. That's the assessment.
Cool. And I just want to ask also, I remember one of your meetings a little while ago, you talked about how some of the subjects in the Diploma of Project Management are actually the leadership or something like that course.
Oh, yes.
Was it not a diploma? So I'm just wondering, like, obviously I've been attending these drop-in sessions and listening to you and et cetera, with you but for those subjects, I mean, you still help us out with that, and it's just marked by the management people, or they have their own drop-in sessions if you want to get help with those particular topics?
There are a couple of teachers. For instance, there is Shauna. Let me show you. Let me go to the very beginning of this unit. So these are the units altogether, right? We have in this course, right? So these up to this much is all project management. Everything is related to managed project and then something, right? Scope, time, cost, quality, human resources, information management system. So these are all part of the project management units, and these 8 are the core. This one is elective, but is still pretty much related to project management. These 3 units are the ones that are business units that can be actually taught with leadership and management, diploma of business, right? A diploma of project management, but they are not necessarily project management core units. Make sense?
Yeah, but as far as like if you need help with it,
and if you need
I
help,
can still come and just come and ask you. It doesn't matter, or we actually have to go see.
It doesn't matter if obviously I can help you out, not a problem, because they're pretty generic in nature. So and also I have the big business background, so not a problem, right? But if you go to Microsoft Teams, you're gonna see like, let me bring it here. So now you will see. So if I go here, right, if I go to continuous improvement, you're gonna see like some other teachers have already made the videos, unit introductory videos. For instance, this is from, if I understand it correctly, Kirili is the teacher who is the main teacher for this unit, Kirili Klo, right? And for team effectiveness, there is another teacher. Her name is Shauna. So Shauna is actually taking lead on this unit. But Yeah, we work collaboratively. There is no issues asking each other. So I'll try to clarify if you need anything. But however, probably the best thing is to approach them, and you will find them here. Like, look here, for instance, one student asked a pretty generic question, like, and I responded that whether the role play for the last 2 units how many participants that they need, is it going to be something so which is pretty generic and already written in the welcome pack. So I actually took the screenshot and put it here. So it really doesn't matter who is responding.
No, but as far as drop-in
is,
sessions, there's no drop-in sessions for those subjects. It's just we can attend these ones that you've got, and then we can ask them these ones. I mean, yes, you can contact them via on the chat. But as far as like these drop-in sessions where they're sort of in person, where it's you and me talking and whatever, there's none for those 3 subjects.
No, there are. There is a planner, which is, if I understand correctly, they use a planner where one-to-one students like Shauna has a planner, right? She has her days, and you can, if you go to her available time, right? There is one particular booking site where you can book one-to-one for a session, 30 minutes every session. You can discuss the issues or your confusion with her, and she's happy to help and clarify those things. And there are also,
it's not like drop-in like this where people are just sort of coming and going and asking questions. Is what I mean.
No, it's not a drop-in. It's a booking. One. Yeah, it's a booking for one-to-one mainly. But I think like there are a couple of videos. For instance, if I just go to continuous improvement, right, and if I go to this unit, there was a video. I don't say it now. Here, this is the one. Okay, unit introductory video. So yeah, so this is the teacher. So I don't know what happened here, but yeah, because of the browser or whatsoever. So, but she has a video, okay, so where she tells you what she wants from which part of the assessment, okay, what to address and how to address. So she will go through that. So pretty much, yeah. And I think like for managed team effectiveness, Shauna has a couple of guidelines where the students get stuck. So yeah, she also has a video somewhere. Okay, so yeah, and you can obviously talk to them. There are like bookings, so you can have multiple sessions and talk to them, not a problem. But drop-in sessions, probably not. Probably not. Yeah. And if you want some, I can ask them, like the student has requested to have a drop-in session, and they might actually get 1 hour or something every fortnight or something, so that at least you can have that timeline, you know that, and you talk to them during their drop-in session. That can happen, not a problem. It's quite flexible. In TAFE Digital, we can work out quite flexibly, not a big deal.
Yeah, I know that's all good. I mean, if I mean, like I said, you'd know those topics anyway, and just sometimes just giving me just a general outline here of what has been. Because I mean, even though I'd read through it and I tried to scan through it and I tried to understand it, you haven't gone through that. Just sort of, I was like, oh, actually, you know what? I misinterpreted that, and that's how he wants it done. So it was just, it's the same thing. I mean, it's just a general sort of like, okay, no, this is what this means, and it's it's a correction so that I don't spend too much time, but also more importantly, yes, I'm actually submitting what the point of what they're trying to do. That's all. So.
Yeah, exactly. Because to be very honest, most of the students, what I feel that is the biggest problem, right? If you talk to the students and clarify the question, then it doesn't really take too much about to do the assessment. Rather, if the students really have to get stuck every now and then, and that is causing them not to progress because they're stuck, they need to talk to somebody, that's a problem, right? So meaning having these sessions really help. Having these sessions really help.
Yeah, because like I mean, when you at the moment, like I said, I've started a new job again, and basically because I've just been doing some contracting here and there, and just my time is limited, and then I've got family and whatever. So just using my time more efficiently is and getting to the point rather than spending a long time and not even getting close to what you are asking for. It just eases a little bit of frustration. But anyway, all right. Well, it's 8:25. I won't hold you on any longer, and I better put my kids to bed as well. But I was going to say, this recording, will you upload this?
I will
put it in here, or how can I grab it?
I will upload it right after this one. It will take some time, to consolidate and let me know, and then I'll put it here. Let me show you where I put the earlier video. I will just put the second video on the time, and we just say like, rather than saying this one as this one I'll say like probably Project Libre a little inside, and the next one, the one that we are recording right now, we will say like going through the assessment, something like that.
Yep. Perfect. Perfect. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, David. Andrew, I really appreciate that you come in regular drop-in sessions. To be very honest, I really have a lot of respect for the dedication that you show. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate your support.
I respect your dedication as well. Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely worth. I love listening to you as well. Yeah, like the stuff that you're teaching, even before with the other person, like just sometimes your insights and your perspective into project management, and like how you were saying, sometimes it's a little bit of blame game, and so you have to sort of have that information there to when you have to backtrack and you have to show accountability. It's good to be able to backtrack and sort of say, look, this is where we asked for this, and this is where we asked for how much, and you can and sort of protects people, and it stops arguments within a project escalating to the point of where it can destruct the project. So that's cool. All right, I better get to it because I've got little ones, but I'll just thank you very much. If you don't mind uploading that, I'd be very much appreciated, and have a lovely weekend.
You too, David. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend. Bye.
See you. Bye.